invention again. An invention for fools.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
History is a clock that people use to tell their political and cultural time of day. It is also a compass that people use to find themselves on the map of human geography. History tells of people where they have been and what they have been, where they are and what they are. Most important, history tells a people where they still must go, what they still must be. Spirituality is a way of accepting the fact that there is a spiritual force in the universe larger than all of mankind. But someone had to come along and invent a word called God. And someone had to say of another God. Mine is better than yours. And someone had to create faith. Someone said, I have the true faith. Religion is the organization of spirituality into something that became the handmaiden of conquerors. Nearly all religions were brought to people and imposed on people by conquerors and used as the framework to control their mind. My main point here is that if you are the child of God and God is a part of you, then in your imagination, God's supposed to look like you. And when you accept a picture of the deity assigned to you by another people, you become the spiritual prisoners of that other people.
Order. Now my court is in session. Will you please stand? First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Judge 1000 Years. Some people call me Judge Better Must Come. I am from Africa, and I come to try all you politicians for selling out black people. In my court, only me talk, as I am vexed. This is the people's court. Now what you have here today?
Well, Your Honor, we have defendants, Senator Sankey Singh and the Senator Change Your Mind. Also here is Mr. Religious Belief, but I think we shall deal with the senators there. At a later date we will deal with religious belief.
Alright, alright. Politician Sankey Singh and politician Change My Mind, you are brought here for tricking black people by promising them good living every 5 years. You have been selling out black people to foreigners.
Your Honor,
hush up! I'm not finished yet. What you want to do? Promise me to? I see the rich getting richer and the poor dying.
Your Honor, fundamentally, if I might say something at this point in time.
Shut up! This is the people's court, and I'm not allowing any politicking here. If you disturb me again, I will give you 1000 years for contempt of court. You are also charged for charging the people too much taxes because of your mismanagement, spending money then taxing the people for it. You keep borrowing money from the IMF and the World Bank in the people's name, continuing the oppression of black people by the same colonial masters. Why you can't learn? No so-called third world country have been able to break loose from these money hawks. You have black people in a vicious cycle.
If it wasn't for me, black people in this country would still be worshipping the Statue of Liberty. Well, tell me how come you change your mind now?
Shut up! What you trying to do? Confuse the quote? I am giving you both 1,000 years on the first account. From 1938 until now, you have been dividing black people. You're promising the people them right back into slavery. No, the only thing you have been truthful about is your thing about out of many one.
Your Honor, that was taken from my Uncle Sam.
Yes, because it's only one people that clean the street. It's one people that eat out a garbage heap. One people that cut sugar cane. One people in the sun and rain. And one people that tile. And it's one people that see a collect the kyle. And speaking of Uncle Sam, I shall also charge you for giving rise to crack and cocaine in this country by killing off the ganja plant that used to help our foreign exchange deficit. I am giving you 1,000 years for the crimes of Anthony Gurley, Godfather Dan, and Mr. Crackstone.
But Your Honor,
not up, you should be hanged, but I shall be lenient and give you both 1,000 years. I have been noticing that in your airports, only outgoing passengers are caught with drugs, but never tourists. Yet we don't grow cocaine here, but it keeps getting more common and common.
But the tourist business is very vital to our national development.
Vital? Vital to who? With your all-exclusive hotels? Tourists will soon think that Negro is the next island by itself. You claim that the poor can't take no more, but you're not giving them anything. I see more Benz than nada, and I hear that a car that costs 20,000 in Miami costs 800,000 here. What you do with all those extra money at customs? You keep talking about tourist harassment. What you call what them doing with Jamaicans in the foreign? Every day them talking about Jamaican posse.
Your Honor, as you can plainly see, when I was in power, things were going to get right. I had all the white people with money on my side. All the brown people were starting to feel as if they were living in Miami.
But what about black people?
Well, as I was just getting around to them, I lost the elections, Your Honor. That is no excuse, Your Honor. Before him, black people were getting very self-sufficient. Brown people were starting to acquire homes in Miami. That is because they were running away, Your Honor. White people started to say, I and Eyre. Your Honor, if it wasn't for him and his black ideology, we would reach much further. Your Honor, him never have poor people on the mind. That is why we're having so much trouble now. Your Honor, it's him change, not me. Your Honor, him have a party of gangs. It's him say so himself.
Shut up! I see no difference between both of you. You both following the same thing that has and is still keeping down black people.
When you're not in power, Your Honor, it is easy to say this and that. But when you have power, it is very different. A different Sankey you have to sing.
I am giving you both another 1,000 years. None of you have the solutions to black people problem. I suggest you read the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. Study him carefully, then I might just grant your pardon. And another thing, before on the beginning of the sentence, both of you should visit Arcade and see how poor women run business from nothing. Let the domestic helpers show you how to use $130 to feed a family of 6 for 1 week. Now take them away.
150 years later. 150 years later, and we have returned. We have returned to Morant Bay, St. Thomas, to right a historic wrong. We have come to put on trial Governor Edward John Eyre. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Uncle Jasaneb, my name is Ka'bu Ma'at-Keru.
Good morning. My name is Muta.10.25.15. We are here to put Governor Eyre on trial after 150 years. It seems that it's going to be a lovely day. It's going to be a lovely day. I mean, the early morning, I look kind of gloomy, but it's going to be a lovely day.
The sun rises in the east, remember?
Okay.
Although it set in the east last night. Did you see that? The sun setting in St. Thomas? We saw that.
You have cross-eye, man.
No, we saw that. We saw that. You're inside of the Africa Forum. It is Running Africa, and we're going through until 10 o'clock. But we need to say something before we go any further, Muta, and that is that we are encouraging and advising you who are listening on the 107s to tell your friends and also for yourself to plug in or boot up your computers, because we are also streaming live video stream on the EyrefM.net. So do that right now, and we'll be bringing to you the coverage of the trial of Governor Eyre live. So welcome on the 107s.
Will it be video that for posterity that you can have it after?
For the National Commission on Reparations. We're going to talk about the copyright issues later on, but it is for posterity. The entire team is on the ground with us. Let me first of all say good morning to our co-hosts, Nicholas Evans.
Good morning, Ka'bu.
And Roger Haspel, who is booting up his phablet.
yes.
Good morning.
Good morning to you too, and good morning everyone. Good to be here, and glad to be here too, because it's a very historic moment, and trial is very critical for us to move on. We can't move on anybody else's terms except our terms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ka'bu, they say the wheels of justice grind slowly in Jamaica. 150 years, better late than never.
2 weeks ago, we participated in the reenactment of the march from Stonygut to Morant Bay, and paused in Morant Bay to remember ancestors, our African ancestors, who in 1865 made that very same walk to Morant Bay and were slaughtered as a result of walking for justice. Muta, today we are returned 150 years later.
Yeah, it's really ironical that I don't visit St. Thomas frequently, and we see like over the past 3 weeks, so this is the second visit here, and I think I'm going to come back here again. I mean,
yes, I know you're going to come back.
Yeah.
For more reasons.
No, that's for a different reason, The Meritone have them.
Meritone?
Yeah, Meritone have them back. Long as the Meritone come from,
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they might have them last laps. Long as so. So I might come forward for you.
So those persons who are saying that you have, so two people can relax.
Oh.
Both Mr. Fenton Ferguson and Mr. Delano.
No, him can't relax. Him going to relax. Him can't relax. So we have to, man. He's like a thorn in his chisel. We not make him relax, man. Minister Chick V, no, sir.
Already, a crowd gathering here at the new courthouse. Let us say this too, that we are coming to you live from the new courthouse in Morant Bay. We're not at the old courthouse. We're at the new courthouse. And as I said before, the entire team on the ground. The production this morning is being overseen, coordinated, organized at the top by the National Commission on Reparations, headed by Professor Vereen Shepherd. And the team is really big, so we're going to be talking about all the persons who are involved in what is about to come later on. In the meantime, though, on the ground here, the team from Eyre FM, let me just welcome the entire team who have been in St. Thomas since Saturday.
I know this place is enclosed. Where we are is an enclosed area. But the courthouse is actually enclosed in a bigger yard space. So obviously the courthouse can't hold the amount of people that we expect here, but I think they're going to have screens outside for those of you who come in.
We already have screens, Muta. You can just see them on the
on the Eyre truck. You can have a bigger screen. Because you have blind people down here, you know.
Right, so,
blind people there.
Well, I think there are going to be also bigger screens, but for now, the Shockwave, which is the Eyre FM Shockwave, we've got about 6 screens, 5 to 6 screens, so that if you're coming in and there's the crowd is overwhelming and you're not able to get into the courthouse, because there is limited seating.
Yeah, that's why I want to inform the people who come in that you will not be able to actually be in the court to see.
Not everybody.
But outside, you will see what is going on inside.
All right, and as we said before, the Shockwave itself carrying 5 to 6 screens, and then later on the NCR providing 2 other screens so that persons can see and hear what's happening in the courthouse. So the team on the ground, let me say thanks to those who are helping of the Eyre FM broadcast team. Shamara Preston, Samantha Mitu, Gavin Grant, Tony and Lindo, Nicholas Evans, of course, and Roger Hasfall. Mutabaruka is right here with me. Shane Clark is in the studio. Good morning to you, Shane. Our IT manager, you know, the entire Eyre FM IT team is here.
Yeah, I see them from last night.
Yes.
Mark just come fix my TV a while ago. I'm trying. At 1 o'clock, me come in, I'll try to watch TV, and this while when I left the TV fix. So why yellow Mark all the while? Him always have fixed things for me, you know, all the while.
So when we roll out with our information technology manager, it's a big rollout. Yeah. It's not a simple thing.
Man, I know. Yeah.
All right, so
the team heavy.
The team is heavy. So Junior Campbell, Mark Hudson, Nikisha Henry, Shane Gohegan. I just paused for effect. Shane, please raise your hand and come and stand in front of a camera. Shane Gohegan of the Eyre FM IT department. Oh, he's in the courthouse. Shane Gohegan, I tell him that I'm envying. Shane Gohegan, relative of Letitia Gohegan.
Who was Letitia?
Letitia was that first woman from the research of Dr. Clinton Hutton and others. Okay. The first woman to throw a stone in the Morant Bay Rebellion.
Oh, so where me?
Shane is in the courthouse. Shane Gohegan, who's been working with Eyre FM for the last...
He was the one that was holding up the light years old?
I think so. Nikisha?
Shane, make yourself present here. I can see his own name, Shane here.
Errington Powell, Irvin Dye, Ricardo Powell, and also we have a much bigger team. So for the first time, second time, well, we've been doing this for a long time, but I think this time we're really synchronizing. These 2 programs soon become one. Talking history and working Africa. This is an interesting situation. So Lorna Gordon, Glenton Murdoch, of course, Professor Vereen Shepherd, wearing many hats, also the host of Talking History Nationwide. The team includes Lord Anthony Gifford, Dr. Donna McFarlane, Dr. Clinton Hutton, Constantine Bogle, Bert Samuels, and also others. We'll tell you about them as we go along this morning. As we said before, in the studio, Shane Clark.
All rise. Judge 1,000 years presiding. Your Honor, we have here Mr. Religious Belief and his henchman, Mr. Denomination. Mr. Religious Belief! Mr. Religious Belief! Please take the stand.
I am noticing that there's a new prosecutor here.
Yes, Your Honor. After the last trial, other prosecutor had to resign. Your Honor, I think both of the gentlemen should take the stand at the same time, considering the magnitude of charges against them.
Mr. Religious Belief and Mr. Denomination, I see where you also have been promising black people, but you are even worse than the politicians. You promise them good living after they die. Yes, you say their reward is in heaven. It would appear to me that both of you have been to heaven already and have gotten yours. The charges are too numerous to mention here. For over 500 years, you have been wanted from ever since you sent your relative here. Yes, I am talking about the same Christopher Columbus.
Your Honor, the name is Christopher Columbus.
Hush up! Columbus, Columbus, it don't matter. He did come trick us. It was you who went to the Americas and Africa with your doctrine of civilizing the savages. You taught black people to pray with their eyes closed. When they opened them, you had their land and they had the Bible. With the Bible and gun, you robbed, raped, murdered our foreparents in the name of Jesus. You have divided black people into groups, causing them to distrust each other. The first charge is for misleading black people into their colorblind blindness. You have black people worshipping everything white as good. White Jesus, white winged angels, white Christmas. Even the songs talk about whiter than snow I long to be.
Bible did say, though your sins be like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow.
So, you're trying to tell me that if my sins are white instead of scarlet, God will accept my sins? And by the way, Michelangelo painting of his uncle. For years, black people keep revering this picture as the true picture of Christ. All your religious holidays originate in Europe. Everything in heaven is white. Everything in hell is black. It's a lucky thing Jamaicans start to visit hell and really see for themselves.
Your Honor, if I may be allowed to speak, our divine and beloved Father, Pope.
Shut up! Dope or Pope, I will not allow you to ask any questions here. I have never heard anyone asking you any questions in one of your church services. You are also charged for collecting money under false pretense. You keep saying the church have no money, yet every little open land have a tent for a few months, then a massive building later. Did not your Bible say that your body is the temple of God?
Your Honor, Mr. Denomination has been collecting money from people, saying that he can get them into Miami via the Bahamas through the guise of Christian crusade. Through such a scheme, people have been jailed, sir, trying to reach Miami.
What? I thought you would be trying to get them to heaven via your church. You are also charged for misinterpretation. You have twisted the Bible to suit white supremacy. You have taken stories and quotes from other books, much older than the Bible, and made them into myths. Have you ever read the Egyptian Book of the Dead?
The what?
It is because of you why the DJs have no respect for our black women. You have painted a picture of women as the originator of sin. You have made women look inferior in all your religious books. You have been preaching a sexist doctrine to our people. From Eve till now, you have blamed women for the downfall of the world. You blame Delilah for Samson's stupidity. You have even placed sin on sex, saying that Mary was a virgin all her life. With these images, what do you expect from our people? You even have the earth as only 6,000 years old. Maybe the history of Europe is only 6,000 years. But black people have been here long before. Long before.
While driving through Jamaica, there's only one radio station I listen to. Eyre FM. Eyre FM. Eyre FM.
We're back with you, coming to you live from the new courthouse in Morant Bay. This is a historic day. We have gathered at the new courthouse on this Sunday, October 25, to watch and to participate in and to ensure that we're part of the process of righting a historic wrong. That is to put Governor Eyre on trial. 150th anniversary of the Morant Bay War. And the theme is Trail of Blood and Tears, tribute to the martyrs of the 1865 Morant Bay War. The overall theme, of course, the activities here today under the auspices of the National Commission on Reparations. It is a dramaturgy of the trial of Governor Eyre, and we will explain what that means as we go through the morning. But we are saying it is a historic day, Muta, but from your own perspective, what are your thoughts on what is about to unfold?
Well, the symbolism is good because over the years, we have not seen any group or organization come together to really symbolize and portray some of the things them that was done to us in history, but was given over to the same man who was oppressing the people them to try. It's like the police are investigate the police. Right now, it is good that people who are of African mind, African consciousness, is really taking on to themselves for really do some things that happen in history, for really right that wrong. And this is part of righting the wrong.
And once again, we want to welcome our listeners on EyreFM.net. We are streaming live at EyreFM.net, live video stream. You can watch us now, and later on, we'll be streaming the trial itself live on EyreFM.net.
We want to heal up the Nyabinghi house, the Nyabinghi and the drummers, them who were there from last night. Not here, but in the square.
Yes.
Yeah, so we want to heal up the Nyabinghi house for really keep the one to order in the Sunday morning. That's all. And you know, some man comes sit up beside of me a while ago. I swear it was Paul Bogle, you know. Believe you, we turn around, I say, wait.
Yes, yes.
We gone back in that time. The man who is responsible for writing the script, Mr. Bert Samuels himself, man.
Good morning to you, Mr. Bert Samuels. Pan-African attorney.
A microphone door.
He's going to get it shortly. We want to tell you how things are going to unfold here at the event today. At 6:30, we're going to be moving into a panel discussion. And of course, that panel discussion, morning Bert, you have a microphone now. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Yes, give thanks and praise.
Yes.
So good to be here.
Pan-African attorney at law. What a historic day.
Very historic day. I'm just asking the residents to calm down. Governor Eyre is in custody. He's at an undisclosed location. Let us have a trial. Do not mob the jails where we think he may be. Just relax. Governor Eyre is in custody, and he'll be brought to trial this morning.
You know, sir, as I say, right, what I say did, let the program go and linger for before we start. Bert, may I bridge it, don't it? You know, sir, you know, to them, should I take your picture and put on the money and say Paul Bogle?
Well, you know.
They look more Paul Boglish.
Yes,
well, what an honor to be bestowed on me.
Yeah, man, then they go take picture of the people and make sculpture of them, man.
Yeah,
and say Paul Bogle, man.
Well, we started now. Now you name Mandela Park.
True. Simple as it sounds.
No, but you know, no serious thing, you know. This day, yeah, I don't know who are listening foreign and them thing there, but I know that people have done this numerous times in history. But for Jamaica, do this is an achievement.
Yeah, but the Muta, you don't know the spirits down here, and the Jamaicans seem to have a special set of Karuman to a land on the water. Yeah. And that spirit resides in Sister Ka'bu, Brother Kuma, Brother Muta Baruka, Sister Verin Shepherd. Those spirits are with us, and the ancestors live within us. So this is not an accident that we have brought Governor Eyre for trial.
Yeah.
All right, and then just to remind you that in a little while we start our panel discussion because we want to contextualize what is about to unfold beginning at 8 o'clock the trial starts. So the panel discussion will include, of course, our brother Pan-African attorney at law, Bert Samuels, who is also the playwright on the dramaturgy that we're talking about, and of course we'll explain that to you. Professor Verin Shepherd will be talking a little bit about the historical background of this as we contextualize this. Professor Verin Shepherd is the chair of the National Commission on Reparations, Vice Chair of the CARICOM Reparations Commission, member of the UN Working Group of Experts of Peoples of African Descent, and also appointed to the United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. And of course we said Bert Samuels, who is a Pan-African attorney at law and member of the National Commission on Reparations himself, and also a playwright. Dr. Clinton Hutton, whose book I have right here. You see, I get a copy. Quick, Muta. Look at that. That's my copy, you know.
Okay,
right? Let me hold it. Let me hold it up for the camera.
Mr. Ian Randall, I am sitting beside Ka'bu, you know, and we can't share a book.
No, we can't share a book.
He's begging openly.
And I thought the same thing when I saw you in Lloyd Stanbury's book. All right, so that
was sent in the post.
So this is the book for those who are watching at eyrefm.net. Color for color, skin for skin, marching with the ancestral spirits into Waro at Morant Bay, just published and was launched just last week. Dr. Clinton Hutton is here in right here. Good morning, Dr. Clinton Hutton. How are you doing?
Last week or this week?
Today's Sunday. It's last week.
Oh, yeah.
Right, last Wednesday. Also joining us in a little while would be Dr. Donna McFarlane, who will be talking to us a little bit about the value of a trial itself. And she is a director, curator of Liberty Hall, the legacy of Marcus Garvey, member of the National Commission on Reparations. Joining us, and I know he's here already, Constantine Bogle, who is a relative also of Paul Bogle and chair of the Paul Bogle Foundation. Good morning, Mr. Constantine Bogle. He'll be joining us shortly. He's here with us. So these are the members of the panel, the panelists who will be participating in the discussion in just a few minutes, actually.
Before you go further and before I forget, I lost my phone last night. I know the person who have it might not wake up yet, but I really appeal to the person who find my phone. If you could just bring it here, I would really be grateful for it. So, if anyone who see a man with a phone where he never really have from...
Do you want to say what kind of phone it is, Mojo?
It's a Galaxy. We're lost it down on the square right on the old courthouse step. That is where I was sitting down. I was sitting down on the old courthouse step down at Morant last night at about after 12. So if anyone know or anyone find my phone, I'll be really grateful to get back that phone. Believe you me.
Muta, word on the street is that Muta will get back his phone. It's just a matter of the person don't know yet that it's Muta's phone.
I word on the street.
We're going to say it again.
That's what I've been hearing all morning.
We're going to say it again before the morning is out because this is very, very important.
so sad and forsaken. Don't you know when one door is closed?
96 degrees in the shade. Real hot in the shade. 96 degrees in the shade. Real hot, oh yes, in the shade.
All right, we're back with you, coming to you live from the new courthouse in Morant Bay, 150 years later. Want to welcome the gathering, the persons who are gathering here inside of the compound of the new courthouse in Morant Bay. Sitting behind me, want to say good morning to my very good friend Prophecy, international recording artist, and also Dr. Michael Barnett of the University of the West Indies, sitting in the space here behind myself, Muta.10.25.15. As we move to the next phase of our program, coming to you live from the courthouse in Morant Bay. In this segment, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Morant Bay War, contextualizing that as to why we are here today. How did we get here? Why are we here? What is the reason for what is about to unfold in a little while? So I welcome to the space Professor Vereen Shepherd, Constantine Bogle, and Dr. Clinton Hutton. I'm going to start with you, Professor Shepherd, just to contextualize today in history in relation to Morant Bay, and then in the broader context. To start.
Thank you, Ka'bu. Good morning to fellow panelists. Morning, Muta. Morning to everyone gathered here. Let me just say that the National Commission on Reparation felt it was critical to be here today and to stage this artistic representation of a trial that never was but ought to have been. So 1865 is a very important anniversary year in Jamaican history, not because of many reasons to celebrate, even though yes, we have to celebrate our activists who stood up for justice, but it's also a sad commemorative day today. On this day in 1865, our ancestors were still being murdered. And if you'll allow me, I'd like to pay respect to those who were hanged on the 25th of October, 1865. William Bell from Manchonil, who was shot. Jacob Cousins from Manchonil, who was shot. William Francis from Manchonil, who was shot. Samuel Panton from Manchonil, who was shot. William Bogle from Morant Bay, who was hanged. Thomas Davis from Morant Bay, who was hanged. Charles Gohagan from Morant Bay, who was hanged. Letitia Gohagan from Morant Bay, who was hanged. And Louis Miller from Morant Bay, who was hanged. And the killings continued until November 13, 1865. So, as a historian, it is important for me to explain that what happened in 1865 was a culmination of the attempts of the planter class and the governing body in Jamaica, the Assembly and the Legislature, to recreate the slave relations of production and to construct a society that, even though it was a post-slavery society, did not have rights and justice. They in fact instituted what we call a century of racial apartheid between 1838 and 1938. And that is why Jamaica between 1838 and 1938 was a society in turmoil, because people couldn't get land to actualize their freedom. Taxes were increased from time to time. When the American Civil War broke out and we couldn't get the supplies needed because we used to import a lot of food from North America, prices of basic foodstuffs went up. And when the people appealed to the governor at the time, in 65, Governor Eyre, to do something to alleviate the poverty, the ill health, the lack of education, the lack of land, the injustice in the courts. When they appealed, what happened? Nothing. So when they appealed to the Queen, because Jamaicans at the time, maybe even now, they believe that somehow the Queen is to be exempt from charges, and that is not so. What she sent back, when the people of St. Anne, because it wasn't only people in St. Thomas in the East who were being affected by what was happening. When the people of St. Anne appealed to the Queen.
And let me just interrupt you,
yes.
Prof, that it is important to note that it wasn't just in St. Thomas that we had these conditions that you're articulating, that it was across Jamaica.
Absolutely.
And so one of the first formal appeals then to the monarchy.
That's right.
Was from
St. Anne. Yes. And when they did that, she simply sent back a letter which basically said, you just have to pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. Basically, insensitive advice to the people. And when we look at the list of those punished, we also see how widespread was the participation, because even people in Western Jamaica who just simply expressed support for what was happening in St. Thomas in the East were in prison. So it was a time of turmoil. It was a time when people coming out of enslavement were saying, we're not standing for this. We're standing up for rights and justice. And what happened is that they were met with terrorism. And so that's why we're here today saying the person who gave the order for the militia to fire on the crowd, who instituted martial law, was never indicted for crimes against our people, despite attempts in the United Kingdom to have this happen. That never happened. We are here today to seek justice.
I think that we have had many conversations about the Morant Bay War, and I think it's good the way since we started focusing on this 150th. It's good the way that we've been doing it in terms of giving the incremental information to the wider Jamaican population. I think that's brilliant. We have not spent a lot of time talking about Governor Eyre.
That's true.
And because Dr. Clinton Hutton, Governor Eyre is a person that we're putting on trial today, we need to know a little bit, and our listeners, I think, need to know a little bit about, we said person before, and can I say bastard on the air?
Can you say what?
You say it a while ago.
Bastard.
You say it a while ago in the panel here, but a lot of people don't know, say, Governor Eyre have crimes in Australia and India.
And this is exactly it. This is exactly it. So tell us a little bit about.
Well, Edward John Eyre was a colonial civil servant, if you will, serving the interests of Imperial Britain. He was a governor in Australia before coming to Jamaica.
So he was an actual governor in
Australia before coming to Jamaica. Of course, Australia was formerly a penal colony.
Yes.
For unwanted citizens of Britain.
And explain to our listeners who don't
know. So they send them to Australia, just like how they want to send them to Jamaica now. The prison business.
Yes.
He was a governor, right?
Yes.
So he came to Jamaica. Was very, very unpopular, even amongst the merchants and planters in Jamaica. But when the people rose up in their determination to get better all across Jamaica, they then started to turn to the governor, because they fear the people more than they fear the governor. They fear the power of the people being realized.
Who was in Jamaica as governor before Governor Eyre?
You have a number of governors, including one Sligo. So you have about three governors after slavery was abolished. And then he was sent. And he was the worst of the lot. Since and before.
And if I could just interrupt Clinton 1 second to say that before he came to Jamaica, he had been, after Australia, he was sent to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes.
And I think that there's something about his term of office in St. Vincent that made him the kind of person he was by the time he landed in Jamaica as Lieutenant Governor first and then confirmed as Governor in Jamaica.
Right. What was that something?
I think that because of his relationship with the enslaved people in St. Vincent, his racism intensified. He had already met Aboriginal people and Maoris in Australia and New Zealand. But somehow they have a better memory of Governor Eyre in Australia than the people of St. Vincent and then in Jamaica. So I think I have to say that from all I've seen of his correspondence, his racism intensified in the Caribbean and especially in Jamaica. And we know that because of his writings.
Yes. And one of the reasons would be because of the persistent struggle of the people in the Caribbean for better. Was persistent. So he was the governor during the time when there was intense, absolutely intense struggle in Jamaica to reshape the society to suit the majority of the people who were enslaved for over 300 years.
So his interaction with the people, can you tell us a little bit about that? What was that like before we got to the October 1865?
His contact with the black population was really minimal. Absolutely minimal. His office was in Spanish Town. He lived in Flamstead. And in fact, when Bogle led a deputation to see him in 1865, I think in September 1865 or in August 1865, he refused to see them. And that is when the struggle shifted from peaceful means to one of armed struggle. Because what started to happen after that was a different form of organization. A form of organization around oath-taking ceremonies, similar to the Mau Mau in Kenya, quite similar. Across the parish, Bogle and his deputies, like Arthur Wellington, an Obeah, a youth, 22-year-old youth by the name of James McLaren, the son of Letitia Gohagan, James, William Bowie, who was an elder and apparently from Cuba. They were swearing in people to take an oath, usually the oath to the warrior spirits and ancestors who were fed with rum mixed with gunpowder. Similar to what happened before the Taki uprising. What they wanted to do was to have 50 persons, 50 men organized in each community for that purpose.
So that here we are for a trial to right an injustice, a historic wrong of a governor who was one of the most brutal in history anywhere in the world. Talk to us about that brutality and why it is important for us to come here 150 years later to try him for these crimes.
Yes, so we must first of all put it in the context that for 329 years, Africans were held in enslavement in Jamaica. They worked without pay. They were unable to pass on the fruits of their labor to their children and their children's children. For 300 and odd years, poverty was imposed on them. And after slavery was abolished, they got nothing. And that is why, for example, James McLaren, who was 22, the youngest leader of the uprising, he was born in the 1840s. And he made a speech, and he said in that speech I am not free, even though I was not born in slavery, because I cannot feed my family. In other words, the poverty of slavery continued. And Vereen mentioned the apartheid system that continued after that. And therefore, it's a similar thing. It's similar in a song by Marley. He said, yes, they say we are free, only to be chained in poverty. It's the same philosophy coming down from that time. They want to shape the country. They had a slogan says, liberty of person equal liberty of land. So if you don't have the means to make your own living, then you are not free. And it is on that basis that the struggle took place.
Go ahead, Muta.
And when it happened, Governor Eyre unleashed all his might and power on the people, which one British Baptist person, Henry Bleeby, who lived in Jamaica at the time, actually wrote a book shortly after and called the book The Reign of Terror, right, to characterize what Governor Eyre did. So he unleashed 1,000 soldiers, British soldiers, who were staying in Jamaica. He sent to Barbados for 500 more soldiers, and a number, I think 250 from the Bahamas, and then he sent to Halifax, which is now part of Canada, and also got soldiers there. And then armed 800 citizens, mainly merchants, from Kingston into volunteer groups. Arm them to rifles, train them, and let them into St. Thomas.
You know, it would be...
Plus 500 Maroons.
Let me get them.
It would have been interesting to find out the activities of the governor in Australia and why he had to leave Australia and New Zealand and end up dying in this part of the world, because the atrocities in Australia, I think, was more gruesome than in America when in terms of Governor Eyre governance. I think the Australian Aboriginal people had a more terrible time under Governor Eyre than in Jamaica. And I don't know if it's because it's brutality, why, because of the Jamaican resistance, why them would have sent him in this part of the world for really deal with it. But it should have been interesting to find out what is it that caused Governor Eyre to leave Australia and New Zealand after brutality there to come over here. What was in the minds of the British to transfer him?
In fact, all the reports that I have read, Governor Eyre's tenure in Australia was different from in Jamaica.
Yes, that's what I have read too.
In fact, they had a fairly good view of him in terms of his treatment of the native Australians.
Yeah.
The destruction of native Australians came before Eyre.
Yeah. And this is why I was asking if he was actually governor. He was actually governor in Australia.
No, there was genocide. Genocide committed in Australia before.
It didn't have that.
And of course, after with the system of apartheid, where they in the late 19th century and in the 20th century, when they start to take away the children of the native Australians.
Mix them, call them mix.
Yeah, they took them away from their parents.
And grow them up like white.
And grow them up, try to grow them up. And in fact, that continued the genocide of native.
But what part Governor Eyre, you think Governor Eyre have a part to play in that?
The report that I have read of Governor Eyre's tenure in Australia is different from in Jamaica.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was actually governor there. He didn't hold the title of governor until he came to Jamaica.
Right.
And when you look at until he came to Jamaica.
Right.
And when you look at the monuments and for example, there's a Lake Eyre and there are monuments to Eyre. And interestingly enough, at Clinton's book launch last week, there were 3 visiting Australians. At the end of it, they told me they felt traumatized because their history and their knowledge of Eyre in Australia is completely different from what they heard at Clinton's book launch, and they are determined to go back to Australia to rewrite the history of Eyre to add this part of his career.
I think why we hear about Governor Eyre or not hear about Governor Eyre in Australia is because the system over there, Australian system, manipulate the report.
Well,
so when I get a report,
that might be so, but
one thing I want to get in though, because and I want you to revisit that.
Let me just say, he was a career politician. When you have a civil servant, a career politician, or a career, they move them around the empire. You see.
And this is why I asked who was governor first and what had happened to the governor, because we understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Clinton, because I think I read it from your research anyway, that the governor might have been gone off on leave or something, and was off for a while. But that Governor Eyre was replaced him temporarily, and then was eventually given that position of governor, but that he was pretty inexperienced as a governor, having not served as a governor before.
Yes, initially he came not as a governor, was a deputy, acting, and then after that made full governor. But even right after that, the populace, including the planter class, were not satisfied with him. The reason why the planter class then hugged him up was because of the upsurge of the black population for rights. And they felt more threatened by the black population fighting for rights than what with what they consider to be the authoritarian rule of Governor Eyre.
All right, I know that we're short on time because we're moving into the dramaturgy itself, and we want to get to Constantine Bogle and to Bert Samuels to talk about what's happening here today and also in Morant Bay. Yes. But so let us talk just a little bit more about that the brutality that he unleashed, and you were telling us about getting people from Canada and from the Bahamas and so on, and arming them, unleashing them on the people of St. Thomas, and why, and then to contextualize that as to why we are here to try him today.
Yes. Right. So he unleashed his soldiers. By the way, yesterday, 150 years ago, the three top leaders of the Morant Bay Uprising were executed. Yesterday, 100 years ago, Paul Bogle was executed. His brother Moses was executed. And the person second in line to Bogle. 150 years ago. And the person next in line to Bogle, William Bowie, was also executed yesterday, 150 years.
And Professor Shepard just read the names of those who were executed today, 150 years ago.
Precisely, right. So, what happened? A number of people, the official figure is 439, shot or hanged in 2 weeks. Those who were shot, they were shot out in the field, so to speak. Those who were armed were those who were captured and brought into Morant Bay. And there are 3 mass graves, one behind the courthouse, one a little distance away, and I think that there's one around Church Corner, Stanton Road. And there are 3 mass graves in which people were packed like sardines, according to one British naval officer. Right? Now, 1,000 houses were burnt to the ground in this parish and in St. David, which is now a part of St. Thomas, because St. David was not which is Yalas area and above Yalas. So, but my own research show, and even British military officers in 1866 said that some 1,500 people, actually, not 439, some 1,500 people were actually killed. There are various sources which stated that, including the military source.
Yeah, I've seen military reports which put it as high as 1,500. It's true.
Precisely.
And you know, Clinton, in talking about the brutality, I'm reminded about what one soldier said.
Yes.
We slaughtered all before us, man, woman, and child. Yeah. And on the list we have children. We have the names of boys, especially, who were murdered. And Eyre defended his actions. by saying that he was saving Jamaica from becoming another Haiti.
Yes.
And that the brutality was justified because black people cannot be punished like white peasants, like European peasants. This was horrible.
Yeah.
And he knew that British constitutional law did not allow martial law for so long after a protest has been put down. And the protest was put down within 3 to 4 days, right? But he extended martial law from the 13th of October to the 13th of November, causing so many people to be court-martialed and executed. And so he knew that he was breaking the law.
Yes. Women were raped. Women had their hair cut off, shaven, tarred, and stuck feathers in. Their people had their goods, shopkeepers, their mackerel and flour confiscated and used by British soldiers. Their goats, their pigs, their cows, their money. People lost a lot of money, kept money in their houses. The soldiers raided the houses before they burnt them down.
So like Tivoli
rings, wedding bands, right? Even people when they were being hung, money was being taken out of their pockets while on the gallows by soldiers.
And we read of persons who were being flogged and just looked, you know, with anger at one of the generals or somebody, and was just demanded, you know, just executed as a result of just looking with anger at somebody who was flogging him. So that one of the things we want to get is understanding why justice is important in all of this, why it is important to return even 150 years after to do what we're about to do and to see unfold today, which is to put Governor Eyre on trial, dramaturgy and all. As we come to you live from the new courthouse in Morant Bay. My name is Ka'bu, Muta.10.25.15, my co-host Muta Baruka. We have come on this historic day, the people of Jamaica, Muta, 150 years later, putting Governor Eyre on trial. Interesting what we have heard so far. I mean,
the Governor Eyre thing need to be investigated, because this man seems like he's a man who did all over the world, like create havoc and end up doing and so on. It's significant to know that, yeah, so we get rid of him, get rid of that. You know, after all of that, it's right that we come get rid of that. So that is saying much with Jamaica.
Because did we really get rid of him here? Or is it now that we, and I know Mayor, you're laughing over what I'm saying, that you need ritual execution and so on, Muta. But did we really get rid of him here? I don't think so. He was.
Well, I mean, Clinton talked a while ago about the atrocities them, and I say it sound like Tivoli Garden. It come like we really never get rid of him to show.
No. No, that is true. Yeah, in many ways.
Yeah, the Tivoli Garden is not symbolic, but yet it's part of the history we have a right. 150 years from now, we might have to put some of them politicians upon trial for we go on in a Tivoli Garden, because that's something where them keep this up. It's a waste of time.
And we heard Professor Shepherd at the beginning just going through the conditions, the social and economic conditions that existed prior and even in the years leading up to October 1865. We can identify with those conditions, Professor Shepherd, even today as we welcome Donna McFarlane to the set. Donna, we can identify with those conditions even today.
Most definitely. I mean, can you imagine the taxes that they had on, they called it a hut tax. If you had a floor, or didn't have a floor, you have a different kind of tax.
High
the
taxes.
provision grounds that was really a big investment for us, our provision ground. And when anyone can just throw you off the land, that means that you lost an entire investment.
And lack
so
of
really,
access,
we had it bad.
Lack of access to land and so on. Constantine Bogle, who is, and you hear the name Bogle, a descendant of Paul Bogle. Before we go into asking you about the conditions here in St. Thomas today and relating it to 1865, tell us about that relation, Constantine.
You mean the relationship between me and Paul?
Yes.
Well, I'm the great-great-grandson of Paul Bogle.
I just like you said between me and Paul.
Yes.
Yeah.
And founder and president of the Paul Bogle Foundation. And that's what I represent here today.
You're the great-great-grandson.
Son of Paul
You can
Bogle.
trace that for us, do they?
Well, I just go by what I was told by my father, and my grandfather, who know his father, who know Paul Bogle. That's just what I go by.
We're very, very happy to have you with us. And you're here in St. Thomas, not just as an ordinary citizen, but also in representative politics.
Yes.
Listening to what we've heard so far about the social conditions and economic conditions that existed, lack of access to land for farmers, down to the drought, lack of health care, proper health care, and looking at the situation that exists today, is it right for us to be here now to put Governor Eyre on trial?
Well, let me say something first. Welcome to St. Thomas. And I think this program is a noble one and a just one. But let me say something. When we look at the Royal Commission document, which is the 1865 investigation report that was commissioned by Queen Victoria, and she sent down H.K. Stokes, Lieutenant General from Russell Corney in England to head that commission. He took responsibility for the burning down of the 1,000 house. He took responsibility for the flagging and the death in the conclusion of his document. So I am saying that this event is really a noble one and a just one that we are having here today. I don't know how the idea was born, but I can tell you it is a very, very great idea.
And speaking of that, may I just say that the Jamaica Reparation Commission met and we started to think about what we could do to pay tribute to the martyrs of Morant Bay. And when we read that when Governor Eyre was recalled from Jamaica in July 1866 and then landed in the UK, in London, in August 1866, and when we realized that there were people there who had a dinner for him, and that there were people who we admire today like Charles Dickens and Kingsley, who were on the Eyre Defense Committee and who were so influential that they defeated all the efforts of the other committee, the Jamaica Committee, that was insisting on his trial.
No wonder I don't like his books.
And well, this is the thing, and we need to know these things.
I don't like any of them.
Now, Carlyle is not. We're not surprised by Carlyle's leading of the charge for Eyre, because Thomas Carlyle is the same one who wrote the pamphlet, Occasional Discourse on the Nigger Question, and talk about all of us were so lazy after emancipation. All we wanted to do was sit on a pumpkin tree and like watch it eat pumpkin, which means he doesn't know what is a pumpkin. What a pumpkin is, vine. He says a tree.
Pumpkin tree, yeah.
So what I'm saying is that if you see the number of people who are lined up for Eyre, Mills and Huxley and those who tried to insist that he should be tried did not succeed. And by the way, there was a descendant of Peter Phillips. There was a Phillips versus Eyre court case also in the UK, a Jamaican who, like Gordon, he illegally transferred from St. Andrew to Morant Bay so that they could have court-martial. Now, Phillips survived. We went to England and tried to get a case. And there was one in Jamaica as well. But the closest we came is Justice Blackburn, who had empaneled the jury. But when the jury came back, they said there's no bail, there's no reason to charge him, he's not guilty of anything. And Justice Blackburn said he thought there were 4 reasons why Eyre should have been tried and found guilty, but that has never happened.
Because of politics.
Yeah.
Because the political situation shifted in England at the time in terms of members of parliament in the election. But just to say that in Jamaica, before Eyre left, there were black people here in Jamaica who were calling him murderer to his face. He didn't get a safe passage out.
Yes.
People were incensed. They shouted him down on the street as a murderer. And there were people.
Heroes Murderer.
There were people who, in the Royal Commission of Inquiry that took place in early 1866, there were people from this parish because they had a sitting, I don't know, or more than one sittings out here, and the people were demanding justice.
You know, Constantine Bogle, we heard very mention, and I'm coming to you, my brother Bert. We're going to talk about the play and so on, but the dramatic presentation, so in a little while. But let me just say to Constantine that we heard Professor Shepherd say just now that one of the things that why Governor Eyre unleashed this brutality, this terror, this reign of terror on the people of Jamaica, and in particular St. Thomas, was that he said he didn't want Jamaica to become another Haiti. Now, not 2 weeks ago, Muta and myself on top of the shockwave coming down, Muta talked about that a lot, that St. Thomas reminded him of Haiti. And isn't that ironic?
Yeah,
which I think for all of us.
Yo, yeah, the reason why we say that is because we come up with St. Thomas. To me, I don't know if you're an expert, it looks like it's the worst and it's the most underdeveloped part of Jamaica I come to. And what happens is that it flashed back to Haiti, that because Haiti do what them do and embarrass the most powerful army in the world, which was France at the time. Them a pay fee, that them all a pay reparation money to France. Well, when I come here, so it look like it's not a go on with the people, them on here, so it's like because of them too presumptuous, we go it out against the most powerful army in the world. It look like from 150 years though, them still a pay for the whole thing.
Well, I support wholeheartedly what Muta says, because St. Thomas was isolated for more than 100 years. And the minds of the people is still some far way out. You know, it's sad to say, but oftentimes, you know, just for a man that born and grew in St. Thomas, to make life in St. Thomas, if it take the man in any other parish 10 horsepower, it take the man in St. Thomas 10,000 horsepower to make life. Because it's like everything is just pulling you back. You know, they just difficult for people around here to see the broad picture of things, and I think it is coming out of what they have been through, and that is why I developed with the Paul Bogle Foundation the leg for Paul Bogle, and to show that what was once a liability, we can now use it as an asset, and we have been doing this for the past 16 years, and that is why I think that this has bring about a lot of changes. People start to see St. Thomas differently, you know. So
and even symbolically, you've been doing the march for many years, and then today, for the first time, the enactment of a trial of Governor Eyre. How do you see that further impacting?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm glad you didn't ask me to speak earlier, because I am not a man
remember for those persons who are listening on the 107,
yesterday was
just, Constantine Bogle was just overcome with emotion.
It's an emotional moment because remember yesterday was the anniversary of the hanging of his family member, you know, and it was a reign of terror. But may I just say that I had to finish discussing why the Reparation Commission thought that we need to be out in St. Thomas in the East. And can I remind people that there were 2 St. Thomases in 1865? This one where we are now was called St. Thomas in the East. And then there was St. Thomas in the Vale that is now part of St. Catherine. So forgive us for shortening the parish when we cast ourselves back to 1865. We are really talking about St. Thomas in the East. And also to say, Bert will speak to this in a while, but Clinton was talking about how when Eyre was recalled to England, he had a hard time leaving the country. We're trying before he left the country, by the way. We captured him, and we're trying him before he left the country. It's a People's Revolutionary Court. But please remember that the person who is playing Governor Eyre today is not Governor Eyre, people. Allow the man to leave the courtroom later, okay? He's not. He's an actor.
Actually, I think it's very important.
He's an actor.
I think it's very important to say that,
right.
I mean, we're laughing, but it is really important to say that, and I'll reiterate
and
it.
we really thank the Philip Sherlock Center, Ashe, and all the actors and actresses who decided to do this with us.
150 years later, we have a descendant of Paul Bogle himself at the table with us, who has broken down in tears. And this is how we're emotional. This is for us still. That is why when David Cameron, another of that word that I can't use on the air, came and said to us that we must move on, that he made the biggest mistake of his life. Mr. Bert Samuels, good morning again, sir.
Yeah, but I don't know who now move on, because we are talking about reparation and repatriation. We are move on, but we still are dealing with, we are dealing, not like say, we stop move, so I deal with this. It's a multitask thing we are working with, that's all. We are move on, but we are dealing with what we're supposed to deal with.
Yes, Muta, I want the people to know that justice delayed is justice denied. And the Reparations Commission couldn't delay the trial any longer. The ancestors would be very displeased. And that is why and how this came about. All this play, as people call it, dramatization, is led by the ancestors, the spirit of Bogle, the spirit of all those who passed.
And
I just want you to know, go ahead.
No, you are an attorney, and so that I think it was only fitting that you were also the playwright, even though it was not necessarily planned. But you were the playwright on this, and we have heard many times from you that process of how you wrote that. I'm going to ask you just to tell us again, in a minute, but just, I mean, there's a large crowd gathered here, and we're streaming live on the internet all the time. You say to us on the phone, now we're on TV. So talk to us a little bit about that process of writing this, what we're about to see today, which is a dramaturgy.
Yeah, as Professor Shepherd said, we had a meeting.
One to the Babylonians, it was not Irish to accept it. I and I was forced by you to use it. So take back your name and leave by the I name. I and I don't want it's your name. Chinese name Chin and Chong. Macintosh came from Scotland. Indian name Raja and Gabaska. I'm unsure Smith no come from Africa, oh no. You hear what I say, oh no. My brothers and sisters, no. Whoa, 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 no. His name no come from Africa, no.
We're back with you live on the Africa Forum. We're on the 107s and we're also streaming live video stream of the proceedings here from the Morant Bay Courthouse, the new Morant Bay Courthouse on this October 25, a historic day in Jamaica's history. I'm Ka'bu Ma'achkeru. Muta.10.25, of course, is my co-host this morning. And in this segment, we're dealing with some of the legal aspect. But before that, just to look quickly at the process of putting in ink to paper on the dramaturgy the dramatic presentation that we're about to witness today, the trial of Governor Eyre.
Thank you, Sister Ka'bu. May the ancestors be pleased. And we know the ancestors are pleased this morning. And Sister Ka'bu has asked me to relate to you how this script came about. Well, in the summer of this year, the Reparations Commission, headed by Professor Vereen Shepherd, we challenged ourselves to pay back, as it were, as a commission to this parish, this historic parish, and the tragedy which took place. And we challenged ourselves that it would be good, because there's a jury in England which decided that Governor Eyre should not stand trial. That jury didn't have one African Jamaican on it. And we, as Reparation Commission, representing, as it were, the jury, the Jamaican jury, came to a decision that he should face trial. And I was asked, as an attorney on the commission, to put the script together. It came about in a very unusual way. I brought a court reporter into my office, went into my conference room, and with my daughter, Sophia Samuels, as the only audience, I stood and spoke for 3 hours, 9 rules. The police, the registrar, the judge, Governor Eyre, Governor Eyre's lawyer, the prosecutor, the jurors, the wife of Gordon, the mother of Paul Bogle, and father and sister of 2 others, 2 women who were hanged, one in a state of pregnancy. I acted out those 9 roles at 3 hours with 4 glasses of water, speaking from my mind, speaking through the minds of the ancestors, speaking through the spirit of Bogle. And I captured that 3.5 hours out of my head. It was committed to a document, and it was produced and the script was emailed to me 1 week later.
And so Michael Holgate directed this, Vereen. Just so our listeners who are going to be on the 107s and those who are watching the live stream on the internet understand exactly what is about to happen here. Can you help us to understand that?
I want to say that this was a team effort, because historians had to be brought on board to ensure that while the courtroom drama would be done according to court protocol and that the legal aspect was taken care of, that the historic aspect was also correct. But of course, it's a dramatic presentation, so the artistic director may have taken a little bit of artistic license, but for the most part, it's going to be correct. So Michael Holgate, who is the director, who is a member of the National Commission on Reparation, by the way, has gathered a good cast. And what will happen is you'll see the cast dressed in period costume take their positions. There's a prosecuting attorney, there's a defense attorney, there's a judge. Somebody is playing Governor Eyre. So all the actors and actresses are getting in place now. And you'll just hear normal courtroom procedure taking place, people giving evidence. One woman who was imprisoned has been brought back from prison. And this is great because when we were looking, Bert, we were looking for, where is this woman? We can't find her on the list. Wasn't she hanged? And then we discovered through research that she was into General Penitentiary. How brilliant. Because then she was an eyewitness to what happened. So this is, don't want to give away too much, but
and as you said, I don't want to give away too much. We have to do a programming note here for the people who are on the compound right here.
Yes.
At the Morant Bay Courthouse. Now the courthouse has limited seating.
Very limited seating, like all courtrooms in Jamaica, by the way. But before
and just to say that persons who came in early have already put their names on a list to get in. Seated.
Yes.
And so that list is exhausted now.
But we have made sure that there are big screen TVs, and Eyre FM has some screens on the shopway.
We have about 6 television
That's right. So people should gather when 8 o'clock comes. People should gather. People who are in the yard who can't get in should gather around one of those big screens. And just to say that the Reparation Commission could not have done this without the assistance of many people. I really want to thank. So next, we had to raise money.
We're going to give you a chance to do the thanking. Okay. So let me go to Lord
great.
Anthony Gifford, who has joined us here. I haven't seen you in a very long time. I think the last time we were together must have been in Africa, in Ghana in the 90s. But that's not true. But thank you so much for coming in. Legally, we have heard from the panelists here, Clinton especially, and also Vereen, about the process with Governor Eyre. So he went to England, things happened, but he was never brought to trial. Why is it important, as an attorney, for us to be here today?
Justice has to be seen to be done, however late. We are actually trying to do it at the Tivoli Inquiry now, which is another kind of reparation. But as far as Governor Eyre is concerned, I find this, for me, this is a great learning experience. I was listening to you all on the way. I am learning. It is rather a bitter lesson for me as a British-born man, now a Jamaican citizen, because I feel this monster, this brutal criminal, Governor Eyre, could have been my ancestor. In fact, I did have ancestors in Africa who did similar things, and there has to be reparation.
And we were there when you apologized on their behalf in Africa in '92.
I made an apology to the Queen Mother of the Ashanti people, the Asantehene, and I had to say that I apologize for the crimes committed by my great-uncle, part of the Saki Palace in Kumasi, and also in Southern Africa, where I've also campaigned. I had to apologize for my grandfather, who was a henchman of Cecil Rhodes. But all this is to say is that we cannot accept the attitude that Cameron came here with 2 weeks ago. We have to find in the UK the better people. There are better people. There is a better spirit. It is exemplified, we hope, in the leadership of the Labour Party, a friend of mine, Jeremy Corbyn, who has said that he wants reparation on the agenda. He says that he will talk with us. He says he wants the history curriculum of Britain changed so that British young people learn about the brutalities of empire, not the glories of empire, the ray victories as they are taught now, but they must be taught on the sins, the crimes that were committed in order to build Britain.
But Lord Gifford, you brought the reparation case to the House of Lords. And we have had many conversations about what happened there in terms of how that was rejected and thrown out. How are you feeling differently, even as we talk about reparatory justice for the martyrs of 1865? How are you feeling differently? That what has changed to make you want to continue this after the House of Lords?
Well, the main thing that has changed is the consciousness of Caribbean people. I mean, this was a fringe issue back in the 90s when you and I were talking about it. It is now a mainstream issue. Very much through the work of my dear Professor Shepherd here and the Commission and everyone and the Rastafari community. Reparations is now on the agenda. And it is, I think, the mobilization of our people here that will be decisive, not the mobilization of any British people. Because if we mobilize here, then we first of all show that we are a force to be reckoned with. And secondly, we will then reach out to the people who are prepared to listen, who are not the present government, but there are people there in Parliament who are very prepared to listen. And this is a process. The African National Congress was started in 1912. It achieved democracy in 1994. Try again. That is the watchword.
And as we talk about reparations, you wanted to come in, Muta?
Yeah, that's what I was like it for. Even that we're in a situation where they refuse to try here in England, I can't go here, and it's been tried here by the same system, because most of the lawyers here, including yourself, was trained in the British system. What is it that could happen in this court that would cause him not to be found guilty because of the British system of law?
We have lost it. Where did we lose our identity? Where did we lose our identity? We're running around like a lonely sheep. Yeah, who's lost his master and has gone astray? Yes, we've lost it. We have lost it. Oh, we have lost it. Yes, we've lost it. When are we gonna join in unity? Tell me when. When are we gonna join in unity? Everything else pleases Jah, but it's only man. Yeah, everything else pleases Jah, but it's only man. 'Cause we have lost it. Yeah, we have lost it. We have lost it. Yeah. Since we got so many things in common, why can't we live as one? God created man that he could be. Where did we lose our identity? Where did we lose our identity? We're running around like a lonely sheep. Yeah, who's lost is a master and has gone astray. Yes, we've lost it.
Mikey Dread. Mikey Dread.
We're back with you. We're coming to you live from the new courthouse in Morant Bay, and in this segment of the program we're wrapping up our panel discussion. We have come here for a very historic reason. I don't know if this is the first, well, Muta said earlier that this has happened over and over in different places, and it is quite true in the other parts of the world. So first time in Jamaica, the enactment of a trial of brutal murderer, Governor Eyre. And the panelists this time include Donna McFarlane, Vereen Shepherd, Constantine Bogle, Dr. Clinton Hutton, Lord Anthony Gifford, and Pan-African attorney Bert Samuels. Just before we went into the break, Muta had asked a question of Lord Anthony Gifford. So go ahead, Muta, that question.
Yeah, what I was saying is that, given that you as a person who has been trained in the British way of dealing with law, and the lawyers in Jamaica have been trained in similar fashion, do you think that in some part of this trial, the defense for Governor Eyre could find something in the law in England that could allow him to be not guilty?
Let me say first of all that I believe in the ideals of the law. I believe that everyone should be equal before the law. I believe that nobody should be so high, so important, so big that they are above the law. It is not the ideals of the law which go wrong. It is the way in which the law is operated and manipulated. But even so, in Jamaica, there are many, many lawyers, and Bert will confirm this to me, who do fight for people's rights under the Constitution, who do try to make a reality of these ideals. We want to have our own court in the Caribbean. We don't want to have to go with rich people to the Privy Council, where only the rich can reach. But if Governor Eyre was tried in this country now, he would get a defense. But I think that the system is big enough, particularly if the climate and if people believe that justice can be done. I believe that he will be convicted. Police officers have been convicted, although many have been acquitted. Judges have been convicted in our system. Big people can be convicted in our system. But I think we have to fight for our rights. We can't just assume that the system will deliver justice. We have to work for justice. And I appeal to any young lawyers who are here or listening that they can be part of this work of making a reality of the ideals of the legal system.
All right, in just the final few minutes, thank you, Lord Anthony Gifford, in the final few minutes that we have, because people are going to have to be moving to the courthouse in a little while, in the courtroom here in Morant Bay for the trial. So we want to look ahead even as we look back, which is the African principle of Sankofa. Bert, let us talk a little bit quickly, and then I go to Clinton, about we heard some of the legal issues from Lord Anthony Gifford. Talk to me about the putting into context what happened within England, what is about to happen here. In law, why is it right to have this trial 150 years later?
Okay, as I said before, the English people assembled a team of jurors in England, and they basically said that not stand trial. But in terms of closure, in terms of this is where the crime scene was, right here. The crime scene for Governor Eyre is right. You're standing on it right now. And therefore, a man should be tried where his crime was committed. That's why we brought him back. He's now in custody waiting trial. We've brought a witness from the General Penitentiary. She's in custody too because she got 15 years. She's going to describe how her so-called trial went about. And therefore, this martial law, there were no jurors. Most of the trials were 5 minutes, and there was no justice. We have unraveled that, and we have brought forward now for closure for the parish of St. Thomas, that the real trial is now, and you're standing and witnessing this historic event. When we put on trial, we do what should have been done. We are now the masters of our own destiny, and it is the ancestors which have led us to come here this morning. Most of you have heard already that yesterday Paul Bogle was hanged 150 years ago. To the day he was swinging from a rope, and therefore it is so appropriate that before his body gets cold, this trial will be kept.
And I hear you talking in the present tense in the same way that Professor Shepherd is asking us to view this, that in our minds, this is 150 years ago today.
I speak in the present tense. Justice Batts, an African-Jamaican judge, not an English judge, will be presiding over there. We'll have people, the jurors will come from the farmers, the butchers, the postmistresses of your parish. Do not interfere with the jurors. It is unlawful. Don't try to influence them. We don't know what the verdict is going to be as yet, but what we know is that the people have come to speak about what happened in the parish and how the persons were tried and how Gordon was taken from way in St. Andrew and brought here by Governor Eyre, who hated him. People, this is a serious trial. No interruptions when you're watching. You have to listen carefully, and no interference with the jurors. Do not interfere with Governor Eyre. We believe that he'll get his just day in court. He's going to testify too. You're going to hear what he has to say.
Professor Shepherd, when I listen to Bert, honestly, I feel like I have to go back home for my machete. No, honestly. No, because it really is an emotional That is why Governor Eyre is asking for protection.
Just before, a woman in her 80s a while ago said to me, Mr. Samuels, I want to be the hangwoman. No, we can't approach it that way. We don't know what the verdict is going to be. She wants to get the job to do the hanging, but we don't know what the verdict is going to be. So I'm asking you just to calm down, please.
Well, I imagine that the people of St. Thomas in the East have come down now in November 1865 to see what's going to happen, and they are hoping for justice, so we'll see what will happen. But I know you have something to do, Verena. I'm going to give you the time to do it, and we're going to wrap up with Clinton, because we wanted to look. We had asked a question earlier, and we know we interrupted with Clinton when he wanted to pick up on what Constantine Bogle had said, Muta and myself talking about why St. Thomas is in the state that it is in, and looking ahead.
Well, I've actually been doing a study, and I've actually written about St. Thomas. St. Thomas, above all other parishes in Jamaica during that time, had the least influence of European culture and Christianity of all the parishes. St. Thomas was more African in its culture, and in addition to that, most of the new set of Africans who came from 1841, the Congo people primarily, almost all of them were sent to this parish and played a significant role in the spiritual foundations of the Morant Bay War. Second thing, as a result of that, there's a direct line from Morant Bay through to Bedwood, through to Leonard Howell.
Yeah.
The Rastafari movement was given birth in this parish for the same reason.
All right, we have a lot to learn and a lot to talk about. The Liberty Hall is there. How can Liberty Hall be accessed for some of this information?
Well, we have our research and reference library, where we have over 10,000 Pan-African books. We have several books that focus primarily on the war. We certainly have now Clinton's book, and we also have a book called Governor Eyre, which was written about him. So we have quite a lot of resources at Liberty Hall to do. And in terms of public education, this is what we wanted. This is what the Reparation Commission has been striving to do since it was formed, to inform the public about our history, to make you know that it is more exciting than fiction, and that is something that we really have to teach our children.
Final words from you, Mr. Constantine Bogle, because I know you have composed now and want to say something, so go ahead.
Let me say something, and I want Jamaica people to listen to me carefully. I am an elected representative / councillor for Yalas. But when we look at the system in Jamaica, I think all of us collectively need to come out and declare that the Parliament of Jamaica has failed the Jamaican people. The Parliament of Jamaica has failed the Jamaican people. The University of the West Indies has failed the Jamaican people. While we appreciate what Dr. Clinton Hutton and Professor Shepherd is doing, I think we are presiding over a failed country, and we must not allow the politicians them to just go forth with this election without tell us exactly what is happening. We have too much black liars and too much doctors inside. For us to accept $2 trillion in debt going forward without anything clearly articulated to us where we're going, I think it is sad, and I think some changes need to make in this 150 years.
This is the descendant of Paul Bogle talking there. Yes,
I think that we're inviting the Prime Minister of England, David Cameron, to come into our live stream, to listen to the evidence in this case, to hear that persons, 1,000 homes were burnt. We want those homes to be rebuilt by your country, not prison house that you and your forebearers did to us. Burn down 1,000 homes. That's what we want. We want homes. You and your prison different. We have to live in a house before we can reach prison. We want David Cameron to listen to the evidence in this case, and then he will see why, like the Holocaust, we take this thing serious.
Well said. Professor Shepherd, I know you have some time to do, so go right to that.
Yes.
We're going to continue the live stream. We're also going to continue the live broadcast, but we're giving persons a chance to make it to the courthouse.
It's very interesting what Bert just said, because at 2:30, that's precisely where we're going from here to Mandela Park. We weren't given permission to stand in front of the British High Commission. There are laws about that apparently, but we will be in Mandela Park because we have 150 reasons and more to get this apology. 150 reasons and more. And so it's an apologize no rally, which will be in Mandela Park later.
And that is today at 2:30. So we are all moving from here to join those who are already gathering at Mandela Park.
That's right.
For 2:30, and we're broadcasting live on Eyre
and
FM.
Muta will be MC there later. So
the entire team will be heading
we
there,
want to send a message loud and clear that 1865 is a big reason as well. As 400, in fact, there are 400 odd reasons in terms of the names of our people. But Ka'bu, I have to thank Eyre FM for this wonderful opportunity and for always being a partner of the Reparation Commission. And we want to thank those who believed in this project and who helped us financially to stage this. The Chase Fund, Jamaica National Building Society, especially because of Earl Jarrett, Professor Archibald MacDonald, who is the principal of the Mona campus, who made a financial contribution to this effort. Central Latino, Blueprints Consults, Mr. John Graham, who made a personal contribution. Dr. Julius Garvey, who sent a contribution, and Mr. John Juna. I really thank the members of the National Commission, the chairman and members of the St. Thomas Parish Development Committee, the Parish Council, the Mayor, Lorian Peart, all the superintendents, the police, Assistant Commissioner Sean Martin and Morant Bay Fire Brigade, Minister of Justice Mark Golding, and Chief Justice Zayla McCullough, who gave us permission to use the courthouse. And I really want to thank the media. I want to thank Knight, Juna, and Samuels, the attorneys at law, because they helped us to ensure that we could speedily get our checks out. Thank you. Lifespan Alkaline Water, Court Management Services, Judge Wilson, Miss Kenton from the Morant Bay Resident Magistrates Court. Juicy Patties provided lunch and you know, for the cast. And we want to thank the cast, of course. And if just quickly, Bob Carr, Fabian Thomas, Peter Abrikian, Abledon Foot, Shower, Kay Burns, Hillary Nicholson, who is playing Lucy, Gordon's wife, Susan Beadle, Stephen Ray Johnson, Renee Williams, Kevin Nelson, Royan Green, the 12 jurors and other supporting actors, and of course Michael. And my team, Lorna Gordon, Events Coordinator, Ian Randall, Media and Communication, Kadeen Marshall from my office, who worked overtime, and of course all the media who helped us, who keep helping us to keep this alive. Thank you everyone, and thank you everybody who is here. Come on, make some noise. You are here. And we thank you so much.
A large crowd gathering.
I want to thank the person who found my phone last night that they're going to bring it back today. I don't get it back yet. But I was standing at the step of Paul Bogle, of the old courthouse. And a group of ones was around me. It's right, that's why I lost it. So I am really thanking the person in advance.
Right.
That they're going to bring it back today.
Yeah. It's a Galaxy.
Yeah, it's a Galaxy phone with most of my life in there.
Exactly. Including all our correspondence, me and you.
Yeah, we don't want to see that.
No, don't see that. That is like Hillary John's correspondence. All right. What we're going to do in this segment now is to wrap the panel discussion, to say thank you so much to the panelists who came in for this. I know you have to make your way to the courthouse. Once again, to say limited seats in the courthouse, but we're streaming live and you'll be able to watch that on the shockwave. We have 5 or 6 screens and also 2 big screens from the NCR, the National Commission on Reparations.
Yes, and just to ask people for their cooperation, no courthouse in Jamaica, and Tony, upon this, could this crowd hold any courthouse in Jamaica? This crowd that we have here. No. Exactly. No courthouse in Jamaica could accommodate this crowd, so you have to be patient. Find a big screen or a small screen and make sure you see what's going to go on in the courtroom.
Maybe one qualification. There was one room in Jamaica which was used by the Caribbean Court of Justice in the Shanique Mari case. It was in the conference center. They sat in the conference center where people could come, and that is an indicator that justice can be
Maybe
accessible.
when we stage this again, we'll have to go to the conference center, right, Bert? Because we tend to stage this again next year in Black History Month.
Yeah, man, we have enough politicians we have to stage this thing for. Try them inside there.
All right, Muta.
No for the politician there.
Yes, Muta, go on talk the things.
But I think we have to. I think we have to take up something Constantine Bogle said though. Is that and by the way, it's Cutlass here on Clinton book. Ask him where he found them. You say you want Cutlass. See some Cutlass here on the picture on the Clinton book. You have to ask Clinton where those are. But no, seriously though, the issue of Moran Bay, Thomas in the East, and the African culture is strong, and the attempts to eliminate reminds us of what happened during enslavement and the attempt to get rid of our culture. And the pity is that today, in 2015, Jamaica, we still have some of these tendencies. We need to get rid of them. This tendency of seeing black people as less than. This tendency of having other people treat us in a certain way. This tendency of not identifying with Africa. This tendency of saying anything black not good. We have to stop it.
We have never dealt with it as a nation. The tendency of having Obia illegal, we have to make it legal too.
Yes, and I want to make one last point about this case. In Jamaica, they call the case the Queen against so-and-so or Regina. In this case, we don't have no Queen against Governor Eyre. This case is called the people against Governor Eyre.
The people against Governor Eyre. The people against Governor Eyre. Those who have seats in the courtroom, the Minister of Justice had just walked in. He's brave. He has walked into the Minister of Justice, Mr. Golden, has just walked in. Can we give him a microphone just to have him have Minister to see justice served?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Reparatory justice, which is really what we're fighting for. But of course, who wants the justice done for Paul Bogle and George William Gordon and the people of St. Thomas?
And what are your thoughts about Jamaica, which is a people against Governor Eyre? What are your thoughts of us doing this 150 years later?
Yes, that's the question.
Well, Obviously, the tide has turned. 150 years ago, the oppressor was oppressing the oppressed. 150 years later, now is the time for, at least symbolically, for the people to get justice against the oppressor. So I support it. In fact,
Mr. B, nowadays is the oppressed oppressing the oppressed. Because a lot of them is in garden house who was once oppressed and seem to be now oppressing the oppressed.
And I'm sorry you're not seeing this live because we were packing up to go to the courthouse. So those persons who are watching on EyreFM.net, you're not seeing this video stream, this part of our conversation, but you're hearing us, and you're also hearing us on the 107s across the world. Welcome. We're seeing your tweets. We know you're watching in South Africa. On all the continents of the world, they're watching this morning. We're seeing the
Ka'bu,
responses.
just want to say that we thank Minister Golin. When I wrote him and asked him for the use of the courthouse on a Sunday, he never hesitated. He gave us a green light. He gave us full support. Also, the Secretary to the Parish Council, Mr. Green, we thank you very much. You have given us so much support. First time we're going to have trial on Sunday. But anything for try, Governor Eyre. Trust me.
Anything. I will give you a quick final word, Minister.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting trial. Look forward to seeing some. I've never come across anything like this before. And the fantastic turnout is amazing. Nice to see all the people here who have come to see this gesture, this symbolic act, this historically symbolic act take place. And it's in the context of what is happening in the world today and the reparations movement. And we're just very glad to see the momentum building.
Thank you so much. We don't want to be the ones, Lord Gifford, to cause court to start late. So I suggest that persons who have seats, who were able to secure seats in the courthouse, to move to the courthouse because it's going to start in another 3 minutes. For those who are not able to secure seats in the courtroom, we have live screens.
I'm kind of on edge still because the last time I go in our courthouse, they charge me for ganja when I smoke. So I really want to go into a court again and experience it, especially this trial here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor Clinton Houghton. Thank you so much, Constantine Bogle. Thank you so much, Lord Gifford and Bert Samuels, Vereen Shepherd, who has already gone to the courthouse, and also Donna McFarlane. Thank you so much, Dorrit Abrahams. I know you're here, but I didn't see you near enough to the chair, but I know you're somewhere here, and we want to say thanks to you for all the work that you've been doing here in St. Thomas in ensuring that we preserve and maintain our culture, honoring your own moral obligation to remember.
Yeah, we say give thanks to Ka'bu again to spearhead this outside broadcast again.
Give thanks to Muta, as usual.
So we will be heading towards the indoors now. So you can grab your space near, don't watch me, I know, grab your space near one of the TV there, right? You might end up
for persons who are still standing around the tent, you might have a little difficulty because the shock wave is in that area. I don't know if there's a slight drizzle as we say good morning to Miguel Lawn, who I'm seeing also in the distance there. You need to be nearer to the shockwave. We have 6 or so screens there. You can watch a trial live. Muta and myself, we came here to watch a trial.
Yes.
So we are going inside the courthouse. And
so all who watching with salt.
Yeah, we're watching on salt because we are moving to the courthouse and we are giving, in a little while we'll be throwing it over to Roger and Nicholas, who I know did not get any seat in the courthouse. Roger, you getting a seat in the court? Where Roger there?
I'm on my seat. I'm good.
Which part of there? You're
right, yes, sir. Right, yes, sir.
So, like you're going to stay outside, Roger?
No, well, that's a problem.
Well,
yes. I'm good.
Muta, hold a chair for me now. Right, so Roger?
Yes.
I'm going to leave you for talking to me.
Yeah.
I really want you to move a chair for me. Muta, take up the mic. All right, so we're going to move now to the courthouse. We expect that this will start any moment. Now, Roger, do you have anybody with you that you want to find out why they're here? I don't know if you're in a...
well, I'll have to just move and go somewhere.
Yes.
Where you pointing me to?
Yes, go ahead, Roger.
All right, thank you very much. We're here. Brother Miguel. Yes.
Greetings and blessings.
Yeah, man. Today is a very historic day, symbolism and otherwise. You know, as a lawyer yourself and the wheels of justice and so on. retroactively or posterity, how important it is?
Very important that we are putting Governor Eyre on real trial, because he should have been put on trial. And two things I want to mention. One, the people of St. Thomas must remember the same DNA in Paul Bogle and the freedom fighters, the same DNA in the people that have gathered here at St. Thomas. And therefore they need to live up to that bloodline. The second thing is that here, it's good to put him on trial here in Jamaica, because I don't know if many Jamaicans know that recently Governor Eyre, who had come from England, who had come from Australia, he was assigned to Australia before they brought him to Jamaica. And in Australia, they awarded him. So we are putting him on trial here as a murderer, and in Australia, they are bigging him up as a good governor. So we need to compare that history, that when he was amongst those white people, he behaved a certain, and when he come amongst black people, he ordered, for example, William Gordon to be put on trial under martial law in a place so as to ensure that he was convicted within 10 minutes.
Yeah. All right, of course, we'll talk much more throughout the course of the morning, Brother Gilbert. Thanks you for putting things into context.
Give thanks.
All right, we're still here live in the courthouse here at Morant Bay. And of course, we're here for the trial of former British Governor Eyre, Edward John Eyre. I think the proceedings will get on the way shortly inside the courthouse. Quite a few spectators are here already. The place back. How are you doing?
Give thanks to life now. I will be a part of this history, and I'm here from last night performing in the square. And today is a very important thing for all Jamaica, all world, all freedom fighter. So when they put him on trial today, we know the verdict already, most guilty. It can't be no.
Well, some people will argue that, boy, he won't get a fair trial. But he's a legendary musician yourself, and how important is the music in terms of the struggle, I mean, against people like Eyre and the wicked system that we were under, and possibly some people say we're still under in terms of, you know, the remnants. How important is the music in terms of the continuation of the struggle?
Well, as Bob Marley said, music shall teach them one lesson. And we see it fulfilled every day. And I from the ancient time, from the days of ska, rocksteady to reggae, we paved the way. That, you know, for reggae music is the heartbeat of a people. And that's why it is so important with the music and this part of the history. Them both tie together and match together. So it's a good look like you're reading a book.
Yeah, so you're anticipating a guilty verdict, eh?
After can't be no guilty, it must be guilty. If I'm guilty from morning, you know. But then again, them go around the whole thing. But people like Eyre FM and, you know, Jamaica people and Rastafari who know the good, for we are the founding judge, you know.
Roger, we cannot allow government to turn it into a kangaroo court, you know. Finding the man guilty before he even goes out.
No, well, I asked him if he anticipates. So he's anticipating that. I mean, somebody else might say they're not anticipating that, you know.
We want to ensure it's a fair trial, yeah. and from what we've been seeing, the 12 jurors are in place, and everything is in place on the inside to ensure that Governor here gets a fair trial and even fairer treatment than he meted out to thousands of people across Jamaica in 150 years ago, Roger. Yeah. This is really something for Jamaica to remember.
Yeah, because, you know, he was on trial 2 times in England, actually, and both times he walked free when they dragged him back from here in Jamaica when it was found out that the atrocities were committed. But he was never tried in Jamaica, and he was never tried actually on behalf. Well, he was tried for the murders of the Jamaican people. He was tried for things like illegal martial law for too long, and for the death of George Williams.
Roger,
yeah.
Just a second, we're joined by Dr. Carlin Cooper, and you know, she's entering the courthouse, so just want to get a quick word with her before she gets her seat.
Dr. Cooper, welcome to the ears of Eyre FM.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Great to be here.
What are your thoughts about what is happening here today, 150 years on?
I think it is wonderful that so many people want to get into the courthouse because, you know, one of the problems we have in Jamaica is problems of access. And I think it is a great idea that we're having this event here, but I think it's unfortunate that so many people cannot get inside. So, you know, we have to look again at how we manage even our celebrations of freedom, because we have to be careful that we don't reinforce some of the exclusions that we are fighting against, you know. So, having said that, you know, because I had to squeeze my way in, but I was recognized, so I get in. But what about the people who are not recognized? Shouldn't they also be recognized and included? So this is a question, and I hope that perhaps we might have even some of the celebrations in Kingston where we have a bigger space, you know. We want to celebrate Moranbeh, and I'm one of the people who want to big up St. Thomas. St. Thomas people have carried the fight, and St. Thomas people need to be the first set of people to get reparations for build road, hospital, school, infrastructure. You know, so that is my honest response to this event. We never expect to come and see people are fight up for getting in.
All right, we understand, and just a bit in defense of the organizers, they said that they really wanted to be a true courthouse setting, and they went as far as to, you know, get the usage of the courthouse, and that wasn't an easy feat, you know. So, you know, we understand. It's really, while they really wanted everybody to be included, they really wanted to capture the true essence of a courthouse.
True. I understand the symbolic significance of having it at the courthouse, but it's judgment right now.
Really judgment right now. We have a few, just about 1,000 or so persons outside trying to get in, and of course the courthouse can only hold that much, Roger.
Yes, indeed. And as we speak, we see hundreds more outside coming in as well. So the symbolism, as we have been speaking about all morning, is such critical this 150 years ago, and justice has to be done. Justice has to be seen to be done as well, because, you know, as I was saying earlier, Governor Eyre was really tried for the murders here in Jamaica. And he was tried specifically for the death of George William Gordon and for the extended martial law. I mean, those times in England, black people weren't recognized as humans still, even though slavery was abolished. Let me speak with this person here. Morning, so how are you doing?
Greetings.
Yeah, what do you think about the symbolism of today?
Well, the symbolism, first I would say from the beginning of Rastafarian, our two contribution and demand is for reparation and repatriation. I'm glad for the, you know, a little humor sometimes will make it a little better. But a man like Paul Bogle, man like Marcus Garvey, man like you know, Sam Sharp and Sister Nanny, you know what I mean? It wasn't an acting thing, because if they were acting, we wouldn't be free as what we are now. You know what I mean? And we're still glad for the presentation of the whalers who have picked up the words of Marcus Garvey when he said we must liberate ourselves from mental slavery. Because at one time we wasn't taught to be reading. We don't know how to read. But most of us in Jamaica, we listen to music. And that's where the message spread, through the music. So we give thanks to the whalers, especially about the whalers who's a living legend of today. You know what I mean? And I give thanks to the Eyre FM program, who welcome, as you see, the Rastafarian community is here. We're on the Alps. We're here from last night, and we're playing right until the time comes for us to stop. So we give thanks, my brother. Heal up brother Muta. Heal up sister Andrea. You know what I mean? Because everything is right. But as I say, if these brethren like Paul Bogle and Sam Sharp and Nanny and Marcus Garvey were acting, then we'll still be in slavery today.
Exactly.
Give thanks, my brother. Africa love.
Every time. And you see the word repatriation and reparations and so on. It's through Rastafari I learned those words. When I hear about repatriation and reparations, reparations is now a buzzword, you know, and it's through it's through Rastafari I know that word. Morning, Bridget, how you doing?
Yes, morning, Roger. This is Mr. Edwards, live on Eyre FM.
Yeah, man, and I see you videographing yourself and us, eh?
What a great experience today to be here.
Yeah, what do you think about the symbolism of today, though important and though critical?
I think it's very good, you know. We don't see a lot more young people. We should have a lot more young people here. I haven't seen that. But we're going to carry on this tradition, and I hope we will see more young people turn out and experience what's going on about the tradition of the ancestors.
Do you feel that, I mean, we were speaking earlier about, I mean, you have a passion in terms of the struggles that Jamaican people continue to face, even though people like Bogle and Garvey and Sam Sharp and so on, some of the struggles that were then is still evident nowadays, eh?
Yes, Roger, it is, because I'm seeing it day in and day out. We as Jamaican having it so hard, very hard, and it's no little help from the government of Jamaica. They don't know that they're supposed to meet the Jamaican people halfway. Anytime we as Jamaicans start any business at all, doing anything to survive, the government of Jamaica is supposed to meet us halfway. And they're not doing that, and that is not good for us.
Well, we have such a far way to go on, and thank you very much, though.
Thank you, Roger.
Yes, indeed. So we are still waiting for the start of this trial this morning here on the Africa Forum, Running African, right here in...
Roger.
Hey, yes, sir.
The coordinator is just asking persons to understand that the courthouse is now full to capacity or over full basically, and they're just asking people just to turn to the screen. We have 6 televisions on the Eyre truck and we have 2 underneath that tent. So just turn to the screen, get yourself a comfortable position. You will still see and hear what is happening inside the courthouse, but right now it's full to capacity. He can't even hold me.
Well, and I was planning to try and get a squeeze in, but it looked like it's not going to work, eh? Yeah, so we're wondering how far they reach, because we know they want to start on time and so on. And of course, you know, time constraints and so on. Just to continue to move around here and speak with a few brethren. Morning, so how you doing?
Blessed love, you know, blessed love.
What do you think about today, the symbolism and otherwise?
Yeah, it's a great, you know, event, and, you know, it's part of the thing, and I want a great thing. So we love to see what's going on same way, you understand?
Yeah, you know, yesterday was 150 years when they hung Paul Bogle, you know?
Yeah, you know, I never come out yesterday because I was busy doing work, you see what I mean? But I still give thanks same way for the event, same way and what's going on, you know?
Yes, indeed. And of course, we have some drumming taking place outside the courthouse here from morning, you know, from before daylight. You know, the drum play an important role in terms of getting the message across, especially the struggle of our people. And the drums, 400 years, you know, that's a consistent chant. As we say good morning to my brethren here. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. It's good to be here. I'm Fikri Selassie, and I couldn't have this opportunity miss me at all. I have to be here to share my concerns as well, you know what I mean? As Jamaicans, we also face the same consequences every day. And so to imagine where we are now, we are coming from, even as it was 150 years ago, we have to now show support and stand up strong, you know what I mean? To give thanks to all the people who have laid the foundation that we can come and enjoy this much today.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So, you know, it is important for us to I want to get your opinion in terms of us to continue to fight for certain rights that is still not accessible here in Jamaica. And today, no doubt, is another step in that direction, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, sure. You know, because even at this stage, there are so much things that we suffer that the government themselves should look to correct, that are not being addressed. You know, so with this, and for the private people who are putting on experiences like these, that we can gain some knowledge and move on. You know what I mean? And be conscious in ourselves and see ourselves as who we are and who we are supposed to be. This is great. And we give thanks for all the organizers.
Give thanks too. Yes. So as we are here on the 107 to witness the trial of Governor Eyre.
Really an historic moment, Roger. Really an historic
I tell you, for real it is. And I am getting so spiritually moved right now based on what is happening now.
And they're asking us to kind of tone down now because they're about to start, and, you know, it's really spilling over inside. So, you know, any moment now, the trial will start. And we will find out after 150 years, that massacre, we'll find out
what will happen to Governor Eyre?
Yeah, so we want the drumming to kind of go down in a little lower decibel.
Beat a little lower.
So we're asking the drummers if they can go down in a little decibel. So we want the drum continue, but you know, if you can go down in a little lower decibel, the conductor, you know, just a little lower decibel in terms of the drumming, because you know the courthouse activities will get on the way shortly now. So Governor Eyre will be tried in Jamaica as a murderer. In England, he was seen as a hero initially, but you know, there were mixed opinions then, and there were rival committees, one for and one against Governor Eyre. And the 2 times that he was on the trial in England, in Gateway, he died on a sizable pension, and he died in peace, which shouldn't have been, but we're trying to hear as a murderer today.
Today's program was really a revelation. I mean, we didn't know that Governor Eyre had, you know, commit some atrocities in Australia as well, and you know, he was a well-traveled man going around basically representing the monarchy of the day, committing crime against natives.
Yeah, you know, because he was one of those early British people who went over to Australia.
Well, actually, they're ready for us now, so we're going to go live to the courthouse.
96 degrees in the shade, real hot in the shade. 96 degrees in the shade, real hot. Oh yes, in the shade. Said it was 96 degrees in the shade. 10,000 soldiers on parade. Taking I and I. Sent from overseas, the Queen fly. Excellency, before you I come with my representation. You know
6 degrees in the shade. Yes, a very symbolic song of the activities of the Moroccan War back in 1865. We'll be heading inside the courthouse anytime now.